name's Lucy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Today I want to give you a little behind the scenes of something that I do for my work, as well as coming on here and speaking with you guys on YouTube. I run my social sewing community group on Facebook, and I run an Etsy store, and I sell gorgeous handmade gifts, mainly for children, cushions and buntings, all pretty things, unicorns. You could just see one behind me, in fact. And I use machine embroidery to add personalisation to most of the items I sell in my Etsy store. So I thought I would show you how I do the machine embroidery, because it's a really gorgeous technique. It's a really great way to completely change what you're making and make it super creative. So I hope you enjoy this. Watch along as I show you step by step how to do machine embroidery. Okay, so step one of doing my machine embroidery, I want to decide what it is I want to embroider onto my work. So here you can see in the background I've embroidering some bunting onto a cushion that I'm making for my Etsy store. Once I've decided what I want to add to my work, I then grab myself some fusible paper. Now this stuff here is what we call fusible paper. It has a paper backing on one side, and then on the reverse it's got a fusible so the fusible side is an adhesive, and it sticks when you apply heat. So you apply heat on the paper side, and the fusible side will then stick to whatever you're attaching it to. So on the paper side of that fusible paper, I then want to draw my design. Now this design will go on reverse when you put it onto your fabric, because the fabric will be glued to the underneath side, the fusible side. So if you're doing lettering or numbers, you need to make sure you draw them in reverse on this side of your fusible paper. So today what I'm going to do is just a real simple design, and I'm going to do a cloud. So really simple. So this doesn't matter if it's back to front, because it can go either way. So I'm just going to draw my simple outline of my shape onto the paper side of my fusible paper, and I'm going to roughly then cut that out. So I'm not going to cut the cloud shape out completely exactly around the shape, just going to roughly cut it out of the fusible paper, ready to iron on to my fabric. So you then want to choose what fabric you want to apply for your cloud or whatever you've drawn. So I'm going to just use this pink spotty that's in my stash. You want to get the reverse of your fabric, and you want to get the fusible side of your paper, so the side you haven't drawn on, and that goes down onto the reverse of your fabric. So you always fuse onto the reverse, and then you will have your pretty design on the pretty side of your fabric showing. So I'm going to take this over to the iron now. I'm going to pop the iron on there just for a couple of minutes, not even that, until it's stuck down. You'll know because you won't be able to pick it off without pulling that paper backing off. So I'm now going to just pop the iron onto my design. Just running it across. Move the iron around, don't have it in one place, you don't want to burn your fabric. And my iron is fairly hot on this, it's on one of the highest temperatures. And you can tell if it's fused okay, because as you go to touch the fusible paper, it's now stuck down fast. I can't lift that anywhere around the edge, so I know now it's ready to cut. Okay, so I'm still at my ironing surface here. I'm just going to cut my little cloud shape out now. So I'm just going to follow around that drawn line that I previously have drawn onto the backing paper. Following all the way around, nice and carefully. So remembering that my design is going to come out in reverse on my fabric the other side. There we go. And this little fabric design still has that paper backing on it. There it is on the fabric side. So now what I want to also do is peel that fabric, that paper backing away. So you peel that away, and you'll be able to feel a slight tackiness where the fusible side of the paper has now fused onto the fabric, ready to now fuse onto your main fabric background. So once you've chose your fabric background, so I'm going to apply my little cloud to this bunting shape here. So I'm just going to apply the little cloud on the bunting where I want to applique it, and then you want to apply the iron to the design again to stick it, to fuse it to this backing fabric. So whatever you're applying your design to, whether that be a cushion, a bag, some bunting, you now want to put that design fusible side down onto the right side of the fabric that you're appliquing it to. Apply the heat again with the iron. Again, just running the iron over there gently and slowly, applying the heat until it fuses together. And again, you'll know when it's ready because as you try and peel back the design, you can feel that it's stuck onto your background fabric. Now you want to take this to your sewing machine. I'm going to show you how to applique this on with a standard sewing machine. Okay, so I'm back at my sewing machine, and just to tell you how my sewing machine is set up before I start to do this, I've got a standard sewing machine foot on. I am using a wide-toed foot, just so that I can see more of my design in the middle. So if you've got one of those, fantastic, they're great to use. If not, you can use a standard machine foot, or equally, if you've got a clear foot, that's also really helpful. So that's on there. I've got my thread in my bobbin and my top thread ready to go, and I've just got a standard cotton thread. I'm using a yellow just so you can see what I'm doing. You could equally use the colour for the cotton, the same as the applique design that you're wanting to apply. And then you want to choose a stitch to go round your design with. Now I tend to use a zigzag stitch to applique. So it's best to have a try first. So pick the stitch you want to use. You could use like a blanket stitch, a zigzag stitch, but just have a play first, see which one you like the best. And also you want to get the right stitch width and length before you begin sewing. So on my sewing machine, it's an electronic sewing machine, I use a zigzag stitch. I use a medium height zigzag at 3.5, and I use quite a narrow stitch width at 1, so it's quite close together, and I just follow my design around. Now as you start, you want to place, it's best if you've got a straight edge to start on a straight edge to start you off. And you want to remember that if you're doing a zigzag, your needle will go in and then out to the edge. The outside edge of the needle wants to fall on the outside edge of your piece of work. And you just want to follow your design round slowly, following the needle on the outside on the edge of your work. So your zigzag should be going into the centre of your design. This will hold the design down in place and obviously makes it look very pretty. The fusible paper that we've just used is only a temporary hold. It's not going to hold your design to your backing fabric forever. It just holds it in place, and what it does is it stops the fabric moving around as you're appliquing it on, stops it from ruffling up or puckering, and keeps it exactly where you want it. Now around a curve, you just take it slow, you follow that curve round. I just love how machine embroidery applique makes really finishes off a design and makes it really unique and personal. There's so many options with it, and you can make something look really creative and arty, which I absolutely love. And the more you practice, obviously, the better you will get at following that stitch line round. And there is another method to doing machine applique, and that's free motion embroidery. That requires a different type of foot on your sewing machine, and it also requires you dropping down the dog feed on your sewing plate here. Not all sewing machines are able to do that, so that's something you would need to refer to your sewing machine manual for. But this is a great alternative, and I think it makes your work look super creative. So there we go. I have zigzag around my little cloud, so you can just see that there in the yellow. That will now permanently fix that cloud to this bunting, and I think it looks rather sweet. So I hope you've enjoyed that little tutorial. Just quick and easy way to really change what you're making in your projects. Machine embroidery is a super skill to master. It can really let your creative juices flow and completely change what you're making, adding that new dimension and texture to your work. It's super fun as well, and you can let your creativity completely go wild. I love it, and with a little bit of practice I know that you guys will too. Thanks very much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed that, and I will see you again soon. Bye!